Are you a woman who feels trapped in your marriage, but guilty at the same time because your husband actually is a good man who has done you no harm? Well, stay tuned because this video is for you. My name is Jamila McMallow, and I'm a mindset coach for 6- and 7-figure earning women corporate executives and established business owners. And I'm talking with you today about being a woman who is married to a good man and some of the challenges that you may be facing. And one of those is that you might feel trapped and you might feel like, wow, this relationship is holding me back and I don't know exactly what to do about it. Well, let me first assure you, you're not crazy and you're not ungrateful. And also, in full disclosure, I want to let you know that this is not something that I have struggled with in my marriage to my husband right now. I was married before. In my first marriage for 14 years, it was a very toxic relationship. And so I am quite familiar with the feelings of, being dissatisfied, not being fulfilled, not feeling seen and heard and all that. But it was a toxic relationship. So it's not the same as your situation. But when I came out of that relationship, I went through a process of healing and personal transformation that allowed me to step into and become the type of woman who can enjoy a happy, healthy relationship with a good man. And then from that place, I attracted my husband and we dated and got married and moved forward from there. Okay. Now, in my marriage, even though everything is great, that's not to say that we haven't been through challenges and difficulties. We have. But even through that, we've been able to maintain our relationship and the closeness and the enjoyment and the playfulness and the flirtiness and all those things that, keep a marriage alive. Like we're kind of still dating, that kind of way about us is how we are. But I share that with you to say so that you understand that no, I have not been married to a good man and felt unfulfilled and dissatisfied. But I have felt unfulfilled and dissatisfied in a marriage. And I know why you are feeling that way, because the healing work that I did before I met the great guy is the healing work you still have to do. It's just the reverse order. I did the healing first, then met the great guy. You met the great guy and didn't do the healing. Now you got to do it so that this all comes together. And there's a synergy and a coherence between the person you become and the relationship you're in. You just got into the relationship before you really understood what was going on the subconscious level underneath. So if you're feeling trapped and stifled by your marriage, it could look something like this. You've got some goals and some dreams that you want to do, some things that you want to pursue that are maybe outside of the scope of what's considered. Maybe it's outside of the career that you're doing right now. Maybe you want to do something different and it's not something maybe that your family fully supports or those things. But your husband isn't necessarily in disagreement. He doesn't necessarily, he's not putting you down, but maybe he doesn't understand it because to him, it's like it's coming out of left field. It's like it's coming out of nowhere. But for you, it's something that you've always had a desire to do. It's a gift and a talent you've always had, but you never really nurtured. And so how you're interpreting his surprise and shock and concern that y'all could potentially lose some income, right? If you decide to just quit your job and pursue your dream, you're interpreting that as him not being supportive of you or that he is trying to stifle you or keep you trapped or doesn't want you to grow. And what I'm here to tell you is that may not be true at all. Just because that's how you feel and are interpreting what he's saying doesn't mean that that's actually what he's saying. It doesn't mean that that's actually his intention is to stifle you and prevent you from fulfilling your dreams and doing the things that bring you joy. Because let me assure you, if you are married to a good man who loves you and supports you, he absolutely wants you to pursue your dreams because he wants you to be happy. Because he knows that if you're happy and fulfilled and doing the things that you loved, that absolutely is going to affect how you show up in your marriage, how you show up in your relationship with him. It's a great spillover effect for him when you're in a good mood and you're doing the things that you enjoy. You think he doesn't get that? So he's not trying to stifle you or hold you back. He's just not clear on what's going on because you haven't properly communicated it to him. You haven't really been open or shared with him who you really are. as far as what your deepest desires and goals and dreams are, because that would require you to be at a level of vulnerability with him that you simply are not comfortable being at. And that has nothing to do with him and everything to do with you. And if you've been watching any of my content, then you know that it has to do with that unhealed childhood trauma, how you experienced your parents' presence or absence, how you experienced their marriage or their relationship with, if you had a stepdad or a stepmother, how you watched your parents in that relationship, how they treated you, how your father treated you. Okay? Because he set the tone for every other man that came into your life after that, as far as what you expect from them, how you expect them to act, how you expect to be treated, how you expect them to make you feel. And if any of those things are negative and you married the opposite, a good guy who is treating you well, but your familiarity is with the negative, your brain is going, that's not normal. That's not familiar. There's something up with this. I don't like it. It doesn't feel safe because I don't recognize it, even though he's a good man and treating you well and faithful and loyal and all those things. You don't feel safe. You don't trust it because you don't know it. It's unfamiliar. Simply choosing a good man and getting into the relationship doesn't automatically prepare you to succeed with him. Because if you haven't learned how to do that, if you haven't deconditioned yourself from your unhealed childhood trauma, from your toxic past in previous relationships, this is going to struggle. And it's not because of him. And it's not a judgment against you. You're not a bad person. There's nothing wrong. But you got to understand that you got to clear this stuff up so that the filter and the lens through which you see your husband, his actions, his words, your marriage come through clearly, and don't get jibber jabber in your filter from your traumatic or toxic childhood and past. Okay? So, if you have a good man, good husband, he's not trying to hold you back. He wants you to be happy. But you got to tell him why you want to do this. And you can't blame him for it. You can't blame him for why you're not doing what it is that you really desire to do. The reason why you're not doing what you want to do was because you decided that you had to live up to your parents' expectations. It's because you decided that you had to check off boxes and do things a certain way. That's why you haven't been able to pursue your dreams or your goals or whatever. Not him. This stuff predates him. You knew that these were things that you enjoyed, but maybe you didn't know one day you might like to do that or as a business or whatever. But you knew that about yourself. You didn't explore it. You didn't indulge it, but you knew that. But you thought you could live without it, or you thought it wasn't important. But see, as women, as we get older, especially when we hit 35 and start heading towards 40, we have our come to Jesus with ourselves. Okay. And I'm here to let you know that that's not about him. That's about you. All that stuff from your past, from your childhood that you haven't dealt with, it's catching up with you, and it's showing up in your marriage. Because your mind is it's making it about him, and it's not about him. It's about some stuff that you just have to deal with from your past so that you can see that he is not trying to stifle you. He's not trying to hold you back. He does want to support you. He just needs to understand, what is the vision? What is the goal? How can I help you? And we do this together so that it feels like this is something we are doing and not something that's being done to me. Okay? Don't blame your husband for why you're unhappy, because your unhappiness is not coming from him. He's just a convenient excuse, a convenient target. And no, he's not perfect. Please believe me, I'm not saying that at all. I get it. He makes mistakes. He says the wrong thing, does the wrong thing, like we all do. But fundamentally, you chose well, and you know it. That's why you feel guilty for the fact that you're not as thrilled and excited about your marriage as you would like to be. And it's why you teeter-totter on the fence of, I don't know, should I leave? Should I stay when I don't really have a good reason? Blah, blah, blah. All of this jumbled stuff that's going on in your head, when all it is your brain is trying to create chaos and toxicity where none exists. It's trying to create familiarity where none exists. And so rather than allowing your brain to cause you to burn down your life, you have got to retrain it. You have got to heal those things, those beliefs, those conditionings, that trauma, heal that stuff, and bring your brain into harmony with the life that you've created, with the new reality that you've created, the healthy, happy relationship you can have with this husband that you said yes to and committed your life to, and him to you. And he's actually a great guy. And you know it. That's why you hesitate. You know it because you're like, I'm not trying to go back out here and be in these dating streets. Ain't nothing out here. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you still feel like, but I can't feel trapped like this forever. You're not trapped. It just feels like you are. And you're not crazy. Your past is just catching up to the reality that you've created for yourself. And so it's time to deal with it so that you don't end up sabotaging all of the good things that you have built in this marriage and in this life that the two of you have created together. I have actually created a free masterclass called Your Independence as a Woman versus Your Marriage. And it's all about taking a deep dive into these reasons as to why you may feel like your independence, your dreams, your goals are in conflict with being a wife, with being married to this man. Why does it feel like that? And I break it down and tell you why you not only feel this way, but how to change it so you stop being in this conflicted, confused state. And it's totally free. So the link to watch that class is below this video. I encourage you to click on that and watch it. Please, whatever platform you're watching this on, please follow, subscribe, like, share this with a friend if she needs to hear it, okay? And if you would like to have a conversation with me, you are welcome to send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have binged some of my content and you're like, okay, I know enough to know that I need this, I just want to know what working with you would look like, then by all means, feel free to book a call at coachjamila.com. You're going to go through a questionnaire that's completely confidential, but it's going to allow me to ascertain what's going on in your relationship, what are some of the things in your past that could be affecting it, so that when we get on the call, it can be one that you're able to make a powerful decision about whether or not we're going to move forward in working together if I invite you, into my program. All right, so I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.